welcome to episode 22 of Sisters Talk. I'm Charlene Lutz.
And I'm Marie Robinson.
And today we're going to dive into our New Year's goals, or some people like to call them resolutions. Kind of thinking about things that we're hoping to meet for ourselves in 2024. And we talked a little before we started, but we really wanted this one to kind of be more spontaneous.
Yeah, in the moment.
In the moment than some of our previous podcasts. So what are you thinking about as far as resolutions or goals for yourself?
I feel like I'm constantly doing this, not just in the new year, but I do feel like there's been a lot of transitions, I would say, in my life recently. So I think really continuing to simplify is something that I want to maintain and keep doing. And then of course, next level fitness goals, thinking about as I get older, and I keep hearing, you were one that told me about the, it's important for weight training. And I heard it and I did it, like I told you on the phone, I think the other day, that I've lifted weights maybe twice in the past 2 or 3 months. So it hasn't really become a routine.
Right.
So I think that is something that I'm really going to put forth more of an effort with. But I don't like the word resolutions. I like thinking of it more as like incremental 1% changes that are going to become lifelong,
habits.
Lifelong habits.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. Yeah, but definitely the weightlifting, I think, is a great one. It is so important as we age for our bones.
Yeah,
And
that's what
lean
I've
muscle.
been listening to. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and trying to align myself and feed my mind with what I want. So you know how sometimes we might not that you can't stray and do just like watch some crap TV or whatever if you want to, but I think when we overall, if you're really trying to move forward with a change in your life, it is important to align the mind, the body, the spirit. And then I guess I was laughing at just the multiple accommodations that I feel like I need for myself to make sure it's going to happen. Writing things out, mapping, making a plan. I can't think of other things right now, but there are many that I have to do to make sure I can make this change, because it's hard. It's hard to make changes, and to get in that routine is sometimes just really challenging.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely focusing on slowing down, continuing to align myself with the things that are really meaningful to me. And I think realizing that when those things are really meaningful, they come really easy. And that's sort of like the light bulb kind of goes off, and it's like, oh yeah, keep doing this. It's easy. You love it. All the things, right, that just make it be joy. Yeah. And to keep going in that direction.
When you say that, though, I'm just going to interrupt you for a second, because I feel like there's conflicting messaging around this, and I wonder what you think about it. When you said, because I feel the same way. Like if something is easy and fun, like we've talked about, like doing this podcast, is it's easy and it's fun.
Right.
But then I think back to, it did step us out of our comfort zone when we first started. So then, so where's the intersection, or how people say, like, life doesn't begin until you're outside of your comfort zone. So how does that play into what's easy and fun?
Well, I think
is it while you're doing the thing that it's easy and fun, that then sometimes you're pushed to do things you wouldn't have otherwise done? It pushes you out of your comfort zone?
I think it's taken me a long time to get to this point. I think it's like we were talking about, the first half of life is the striving and the getting and all the things, and then the second half is kind of like, it's almost like you do start to enjoy it more on a different level, because you've acquired a level of
wisdom,
skill or wisdom with something. So it does become more joyful, or maybe just your mindset shifts. We've been talking about mindset shifts too.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of things, but I will say that many of the things that do bring me joy were once very difficult or felt difficult.
Yeah.
In my perception of them.
So maybe you
in
had
the space I was at the time.
A mental block, thinking you couldn't, or it wasn't feasible, and now these are the things that are. So you think with the blocks that you were experiencing, do you think that's over time, or something has changed within you, or you've gotten more skilled, or what makes that shift happen?
Yeah, I think it's primarily a change of your perception of how you're viewing what's going on and what's happening. Go ahead.
Well, I think that's true, but isn't it also, does it have to do with us, or, for you, for example, knowing and embracing your true self, your inner strength and power?
Definitely.
Coming into feeling more empowered to do things that maybe years ago you felt were not feasible, and now seem like
absolutely.
You could do them.
I think that one of the things that we've both been kind of doing is that idea of growing downward, right? I mean, this book is Falling Upward, the spirituality for the two halves of life. And I know I told you about it. It's Richard Rohr and Brene Brown did the foreword. And, one of the things that it talks about is this idea of kind of getting back to your authentic self, or back to who you are meant to be, or who you always were.
Yeah.
And, I think that at this time, not everyone, but many people kind of go into the second half of life, is what he calls it. And it's kind of when you start to consider the task within the task. And what he means by that is kind of like, what is the underlying meaning of what you're doing? Why are you doing what you're doing?
And it's not about, an age as half.
No.
Second half of life.
No.
It's about experiences. It's about, your perception.
It does tend to come.
Shifts.
Yeah, it definitely comes, I guess, around the midpoint, 40-ish, 50-ish, because you've acquired many things. Most people by this point, they've done their striving. They've, had a career. Like I said, most people, not everyone, but
sure.
So I think that it is about allowing yourself to kind of come home to yourself, so to speak, and being comfortable with maybe doing things that at one point in time you couldn't fathom doing because you were in a different place, or I was in a different, or anyway.
Right. I can see that, and I think that when you were talking about just coming, back to being yourself more, it just made me think about this quote recently that I read. It was something about the new year, and it was saying something along the lines of, we're always trying to become someone new or become someone else. And how about this year, we just try to become more of ourselves. And I think that's just such a great reminder with all of this. So whatever your resolutions are, whatever your goals are, just remember the authenticity and, to keep that in the forefront.
Definitely. Yeah, it's going to be the guiding light for sure.
Absolutely. It needs to be.
Yeah.
All right. How about our tea?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
You want to read it?
Sure. What belongs to you shall come to you. Oh, perfect. The flowing waters of life.
All in good time. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thank you.